And we welcome you back to the Steve Malzberg Show. John Bachman, as you can see, Steve Malzberg a little bit out of his comfortable confines that he normally is in the Steve Malzberg studio in Newsmax, New York. He's in his bunker today, riding out the storm, but always available to the viewers and always great to be with you, Steve. And I'm enjoying this quite personally. Had a chance yesterday to take some calls from our viewers, and I was quite frankly surprised. We were talking about the Iowa Freedom Summit yesterday and talked to some good folks in Oklahoma, Texas, South Carolina, Mississippi, Alabama, and we actually heard some applause for Donald Trump and Mitt Romney coming out of the Iowa Freedom Summit. For those folks in the South and in the Heartland, did not expect for them to pick up some traction there.
Yeah, well, Donald Trump, I think his lines as he blasted Mitt Romney said he's a failed candidate, got a lot of applause for that, and then said the last thing we need is another Bush running, and he got a lot of applause for that as well. Look, Donald Trump is never going to run for president. I love Donald Trump for what he is. Would he make a good president? Yeah, he probably would. He wouldn't take any crap. He wouldn't take any crap from the media and that kind of thing. But he's unelectable. I mean, look, I'm not saying he's done anything nefarious in his business life, but he'd have to open up everything. And plus he'd have to quit TV, quit this, quit that. I just don't see it happening. If he was going to do it, he would have done it already, I believe. But I think he's a voice, and he's an important voice, which, again, the media will mock him. Donald Trump offered Barack Obama, what's it, $5 million, okay? $5 million, maybe more, to show us his college records. Show us your college records. And the media and Obama mocked Trump. $5 million to give to the charity of his choice. How many kids could have been fed with $5 million? How many people could have been clothed with $5 million? So instead, they mocked Trump for daring to offer that and gave Obama a pass. So that's what Trump will always be up against, like so many other conservatives.
A fair point. There's a couple of schools of thought here, too, Steve. There are those who would say, and I might be in this corner, that these folks who participate in these types of events are only making the field too crowded, maybe perhaps giving too many choices to the voters out there. But then there's the other school of thought, and sometimes I admit I struggle between the two. Trump obviously provides something to the conversation, and he takes the conversation in a certain direction. And obviously our Newsmax audience and a lot of other Republican voters want to see the debate go in that direction in the Republican Party. And so I think they do add something, whether it's Donald Trump or Sarah Palin, and you can certainly find criticisms with their participation, but they do add something to the conversation and have a big impact on it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And by the way, congratulations. Yesterday you did a great show. And for the first time we opened up, we had done some Skype video calls, but you opened it up to what's close to my heart as a talk radio guy for 30 years. You opened it up to regular phone callers, and I know you had tons of them. And I know we got the number up on the screen, and I believe the number is 561-369-0081, 561-369-0081. Folks, call in. Now's your chance.
Yeah.
And let's go to Arizona and Sandra.
Well, thank you. And number one, thank you for Midpoint's Greenfield talk at the New York City Councilman. But talking about...
That was in Berlin, and you did a great job with that, yes.
Yeah. Talking about taking people seriously, I really do not believe that we, the informed voters, would take Mr. Trump or Sarah, bless her heart, seriously. And I think, too, I personally would like some of these other people that have had an opportunity to step aside and let some new blood come to these podiums and speak to the people. Scott Walker's, he's put his words into action, and he appears to do what's best for the people of Wisconsin. So as much as I trust and respect a lot of these other people, I believe Scott Walker and Dr. Carson have more of our hearts.
Yeah, Sandra, I wanted to ask you about Dr. Carson because you mentioned some fresh blood. I mean, Scott Walker, obviously a guy that a lot of folks are talking about after his performance at the Iowa Freedom Summit. But Ben Carson is a political outsider, never has run for office before. Is that the type of fresh blood you're talking about?
His and Mr. Walker's, because Mr. Walker has been a governor, and reading Mr. Carson's books and seeing him on TV, he just has a peace and a calm about him that we, the people, really need with all that's going on in the world.
And I agree with you about that peace and calm. Although I do also believe the criticism on Scott Walker, at least in my mind and in the minds of some others before the speech over the weekend, was he didn't have the fire. He needed to get out there and really rip it. And he did. He did in a nice way, a modest way, but he had passion. I think that what we need from Ben Carson is just to wrap up the passion just a little tiny bit. But listen, can you imagine? This man was the first to separate conjoined twins joined at the head. I mean, this guy's a genius. He's a medical genius. He's a legend. And the media says to him, oh, the liberal media, let him stick to medicine. You know, that's sick. And if I got to tell you, if he were a black Democrat, they would make this man into a rock star.
All right, we got one more caller, Steve. His name is Lloyd. Let's get to Lloyd. Lloyd, we're talking about the Republican field. One way to describe it is a deep bench. Another way to describe it is overly crowded. What's your take, Lloyd, on the Republican field for 2016?
Well, number one is that you would be the top of my list because you don't take any crap.
I think he's talking about you,
What we
Steve.
need is we need somebody solid and strong because we got some big problems.
Yes.
Well, Lloyd, if drafted, I will not run, but I appreciate that. Yeah, we do. We need somebody. See, we need someone with a little Newt Gingrich in them, and a little Donald Trump in them. So at a debate or during an interview, when the media, asks these stupid questions or says, "Hey, Mitt, what about your latest gaffe?" Remember that? They'll fire back the way Newt did at the debates and the way Donald Trump does to the media, and be unafraid. And it gets down to the consultants. If they hire the same consultants that McCain had and Dole had and Romney had, you're finished, because you're going to be running against a woman. Can't do this, can't say that. Ooh, the independents won't like that. You're going to lose. Be out there. Call it what it is. Speak the way you need to speak. Otherwise, don't even run.
Yeah, well, they're running, Steve, and whether or not the race has begun officially or not, they are out there, and things starting even earlier, it seems, than the last time around in 2016. We're going to stick around. We got a lot more calls to get to. Folks are calling in, and we want to hear your take. We're talking about a lot of things here today on the program. We're going to talk about President Obama's tactic with Alaskan oil. Is he trying to choke off the Alaskan oil supply? And you can also reach in. Here's the number to call in, 561-369-0081. We got much more ahead on this special edition of the Steve Malzberg Show. I'm John Bachman in Florida. Steve's in New York. We'll be right back after this Newsmax Now Update.